Hey, hope everybody had themselves a good week. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen, Psycho DJs, Platters in a CD, episode 2. That's right. We're going to the second episode this time around with a bunch of different things I pulled out of my boxes and trying to give you a little bit of history and then such. First thing right off the bat, here's one for you. Now, some people, of course, Yes fans. They know John Anderson, the former lead singer of Yes. But most people didn't know that he actually teamed up with another singer named Vangelis out of the 1960s. He originally was in a Greek rock band called Aphrodite's Child. Try to look for that stuff if you can, or listen to it on YouTube. But when John and Vangelis got together, he also was wonderful in the keyboard department. He did Chariots of Fire, if you've ever heard the theme, who hasn't, in the early 80s. But when they got together, it was John and Vangelis, and this, of course, being, I hate these cameras, Private Collection off of Polydor Records from 1983. My favorite, unfortunately, is not on here, but this, of course, was towards the end of the days that you could have one whole entire song be a whole entire album side. Which side B, Horizon, is exactly what the heck it is. It's a whole album side song. Only prog rockers could get away with that bit, but my favorite tune from these guys is still The Adventures of Mr. Cairo, and to hear John sing that in his pleasant voice that's slightly shrilly at times is always a good thing to hear, at least to these ears. To go from prog to something that you'd be like, huh? Well, why does he have this in his collection? Well, I got a lot of things in my collection. If you saw it, you'd be rolling your eyes. But let's go backwards to 1972, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas from the Brady Bunch. Yeah, that's right. Merry Christmas from the friggin' Brady Bunch. They actually had, if I remember correctly, 4 to 5 albums from 72 to 74. Is when they released them, all on, let's see if we can yank this out here. Remember how these cameras are with backwards. On the old school Paramount labels. Remember Paramount. This one here, of course, being gray and black. On this one, decent shape too, for that matter. They really couldn't sing, let's face it. They figured, okay, we'll get some more extra money from them. I mean, seriously, guys, did you really think you wanted to hear versions of the first Noel, Away in a Manger, them doing Little Drummer Boy, or hey, if that wasn't enough, their Jingle Bell Frosty the Snowman medley? No. For anybody, of course, that visits Branson, Missouri, Barry Williams, who's Greg Brady, just signed a 5-year contract with Yakov Smirnoff's theater out there. So the season, of course, is almost over per se for this year, but he'll be there for a couple more years, and I keep hearing rumors that him and Maureen McCormick are maybe possibly going to do a few shows together down there, and if they show up, I'm going to bring this album with, because, well, as my friends know, I collect autographs, and signed albums are the thing. So, okay, we touched on John Vangelis, we touched on Brady Bunch. Let's go back up north a minute. This band, I really gotta confess, I didn't even know about them until back in the early O's, maybe around 2000, 2001. I didn't even know this band existed in the 70s and 80s, and it still exists today, to my knowledge, straight from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's right, Bad Boy. The Milwaukee people know who Bad Boy is, but I gotta confess, I never heard of him. And and not too shabby either. This is from 1978, originally on United Artists Records, because, well, United Artists was, I want to say, what was it, about maybe 79, maybe 80. They finally went belly up. These albums are actually very hard to find from the band. I'm not even sure if they even got reissued on CD, for that matter. They only put 2 albums out on United Artists. Steve Grimm is the only member left of Bad Boy that was originally there from the get-go. Let's see here. Yeah, remember when it looked like this? The only time I've ever seen this label on anything that I have on UA is Cherry Rafferty. If you remember, good old Cherry Rafferty was on UA at one point or another. But the band still is together. But the funny part about this is that their lead singer is a gentleman by the name of Zeno. Zeno, if that name sounds familiar at all to you, he was the original singer of Cheap Trick. Yeah, that's right. He was the original singer of Cheap Trick. I want to say for about like 2 years. And according to Zeno, who I interviewed back in 2001, he was the one that came up with the Cheap Trick name, he says. And Rick Nielsen loved it, and everybody else went with it. So that I thought was pretty neat in itself. To go from that to probably who likes Iron Maiden? I like Iron Maiden. Do you like Iron Maiden? I bet you like Iron Maiden. My favorite, Peace of Mind. That's right. On the Capitol record back in '83, you are, of course, looking at, let's see, what do we got here? That's always been really good. Well, I like Where Eagles Dare. Okay. Flight of Icarus. Oh, I love Flight of Icarus. But, of course, my favorite on here, The Trooper. Side 2, track 1. I'm not kidding you when I say that this has to be one of the coolest Iron Maiden songs that ever came out. And they're still around, obviously. Here on this one here was particular. Let's see if I can get a little closer. This one was a specialty label from Capitol, which, of course, is pretty neat in its own self. It's a bunch of vegetables, in case you couldn't figure that out. I thought that's kind of funny, all things considered. Get it? Vegetables. Eddie here in the insane asylum. If I remember correctly, I think it's Clive Burr's last album, too, and unfortunately for him, he has MS and all that other stuff, but Iron Maiden's still going strong. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, what's this? What album could Paul be having in his hand? It's from Iron Butterfly. Yeah, it's an eye theme for that matter. Here's the gatefold. This one here is called Metamorphosis. And look, it's even got a naked chick on the back. I like artwork back from, this would be 1970 on the Atco records. By that time, of course, with Butterfly, Mike Panera, you know him from Blues Image, Ride Captain Ride, he ended up jumping onto the Iron Butterfly bandwagon for a couple years until they kind of petered out around 72, roughly, before making a comeback. Also, let's see, one of my favorite blues rock bands, period. Been around for, well, let's see, they put out their first album 40 years ago this year. Foghat, that's right. Fool for the City, 1976. Good stuff. Or as we say, the Hat of Fog. Half of them, of course, are dead right now. Lonesome Dave Peverett, he died in 2001. And Rod Price died in 2005 from falling down a flight of stairs. Roger Earl still drumming for them. They all got started originally as a Savoy Brown offshoot. Try to look for their 1969 to 1971 Savoy Brown records as well. Almost getting to the end of time here, so we talked a bunch of Platters, but what about a CD? You know what? I got to tell you something. This still is in my CD player from time to time. Van Halen's Different Kind of Truth from February 2012. Seriously, get it. Most of the tracks on here are beautiful. Eddie Van Halen is back in form. Godspeed to him. Of course, having that diverticulitis episode is going to put him out until early 13. So until next week, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? Take care. Keep spinning the black circle. And love and peace to all of you.